Thank you, Chairman. Before I ask my questions, let me make a point reacting to what you said earlier about nuclear waste and your desire to solve the nuclear waste problem. It is my observation that if our nuclear waste stockpiles were in the hands of private corporations, then the accounting methodology to which private corporations are subject would take a look at that as a liability. Whoever was doing their accounting reports, whoever was doing their shareholder reports would go and they would say, wow, you have all this nuclear waste, that's a problem. And then they would do their level best to try to put a price on the problem so that it could be booked as a liability for shareholders and the public to know about. And the instant that you put a number on that on a company's books, let's say the number is $2 trillion. I don't know what it is. It's a big number, I expect. Then that gives that company a $2 trillion minus $1 incentive to spend money to solve the problem. It is right now, from an accounting perspective, free to have all this nuclear waste simply sit there with no solution. And the flip side of that is that there is no market incentive, there's no financial reward to anybody who solves the problem. So that puts it on us as members of Congress to force that solution. But I hope and expect that there may be a way to bring that market analysis to bear in the solution that you are trying to develop, and I look forward to working with you on that proposition. We would not have the problem we have if somewhere on the books of the United States of America was an X billion-dollar liability for this that affected our financial reporting. Somebody would be incented to solve the problem. So my questions to both of you are, I just want to make sure that it's clear that a lot of the support for this, the bipartisan support for this, came because people care about some of the goals that we believe there's a chance for these modern nuclear technologies to achieve. And there were two of them, and I'd ask you to guess what you think our two priorities were in supporting this legislation. What were the two policy goals that you think most drove us? Go ahead.
You really want me to guess what? Okay, so I think.
Well, I would hope you would know that it would be so clear that what our point was in giving you this power. If you don't know, then that's a big signal to me that we need to make it really clear why we did this.
No, yes, sir. So I think that the most important goals would be to provide an energy source that is carbon-free.
Bingo.
And so,
well said. That's one.
Number one, and that in addition, it would address so one would be carbon-free because there are the climate issues that are being addressed, but the other is energy itself.
Correct. Good.
Energy itself and the need for energy, and that this would be another source. And I would say additionally to keep involved in a national policy interest in staying involved in nuclear. So all of these things I think were rooted in.
You're getting a little bit closer with those last two, but I would not give you a passing grade on that. I would say that, maybe good effort, but what I would say one of our clear purposes was to try to make sure that these new technologies, as they came online, explored the possibility of repurposing our existing nuclear waste stockpile. Some of these technologies have been proposed as promising to turn this massive liability into actually a positive value as a fuel. I don't know if that's going to pan out. I honestly don't. I'm not a technologist. But people who are very smart about this and who've invested millions and millions of dollars in these new technologies tell me that that is their intention, that that is their purpose. So as you are looking at these new technologies, I very much want, and I think I speak for a considerable number of us who have encouraged, supported, and authorized you to do this, we very much want to see that as this work gets done, it gets done in a way in which we are focused on the possibility of turning all that nuclear waste sitting around now as a health hazard and as an economic drag into something that could be positive. So if, all things being equal, you have two different technologies that you could fund, or that you could pursue, or that you could authorize, I would urge that in every way you can, you lean towards the one that has the better chance of allowing us to repurpose this enormous poisonous stockpile for which we have no other plan. Clear enough? Is that a yes from both of you? Because we don't have a record.
Yes.
Okay, then I've said my piece. Thank you very much for what you're doing to try to implement the law that we passed.